Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to this channel Indo class. Today we are going to learn about temperature measurement. What the function of this temperature measurement? Yeah, temperature is used. This measurement to use the temperature on the environment. Many tools can be used to this. For example, a thermocouple, RTD, thermistor, and IC sensor. The concept of this temperature measurement is using resistor, and if if each resistor has current different, so it makes the voltage is different as well. So any voltage can be detected. Any tool using power supply from under, and then any tool temperature measurement not using power supply. But if you don't use power supply, you only know small voltage can be detected. And every in this thermocouple, RTD thermistor, and IC sensor has characteristic different one to other. That characteristic are like range wide temperature, material which is used, sensitivity, and other. And you can use this in any situation, not for all situation. If you want to industry or manufacture, you have to this temperature measurement if you want to check on high temperature or low temperature in using under measurement. For the first, we can explain about the characteristic thermocouple. Do you know a thermocouple? If you see on this thermocouple has two wire, wire A and wire B, and each wire has different characteristic. If this wire get fire on this location, so any current, because on this wire has different characteristic, so different electron come through this wire. On here there is no voltage from outside into this wire. So if you check on multimeter, you can get small voltage on this multimeter. What the difference of this type K, G, T, and E for this thermocouple? Type K using material nickel and chromium. Type G using material iron and constant. Type T using material copper and constant. And for type E using material nickel and chromium. You can see on this picture any part of this thermocouple. For on this part, the name is hot junction. If you get fire or cold condition, so this function to detect situation environment, and then this hot junction is combined become one from wire A and wire B, and this part the name is cold junction. Cold junction. If this wire is hot temperature and this wire is cold temperature, because any cover for covering this wire and then connect to this multimeter. Because on this wire has different voltage, so you can be detected on this multimeter. This is a just only picture. If you see on the real condition, the tool like this. It is combined between wire A and wire B on inside. So any isolator to cover this wire and sheets also to cover this wire. So make it safe for every wire. You can see on here the symbol of thermocouple like this. Hot junction, and then on here any cold junction, and then you can check voltage. This thermocouple you can be connected through here voltmeter, and there is no power supply from outside that into this thermocouple, so you only detect small voltage through here. And if you compare between temperature versus voltage, the line, the curve like this. If the temperature high, so you can get high voltage, for example on here. And if you check on this, and with any saturation condition on any temperature, you can see on this board the advantage and disadvantage using of this thermocouple. For advantage using this thermocouple, such as self-powered, simple, rugged, inexpensive, or we can see is cheaper, wide variety, wide temperature range, and for disadvantage using of this thermocouple, such as non-linear, yes, you can see on this any saturation condition on any temperature. If you want get want to get linear, so you have to get line like this. So because the real line or curve like this, so we can call this line non-linear. Low voltage, yes, because there is no power supply from outside which insert into this thermocouple. Reference required, yeah, because there is no converter which can be seen on this thermocouple, so you have to convert from voltage into temperature, and then least stable, and then least sensitive. I think enough for explanation of this thermocouple. If you want to buy this thermocouple tool, it is so cheaper. If you want to buy the price starting from 50,000 rupiah until more than 1 million rupiah, depend on the material used on it. Next, we want to explain about the RTD sensor. RTD is better than thermocouple sensor because you can see on this curve the graphic is better than thermocouple graphic. You can see on this board the structure of this RTD. RTD is resistant temperature detector, is nearly similar with before thermocouple, but you can see on this the wire is not straight, but the wire is coiled like this. If you see on the before on thermocouple the wire straight, but for this sensor RTD the wire is coiled. For this example we use two wire on this RTD sensor and many configuration for this sensor. You can use two wire, this two wire, or maybe you can use three wire, and the last you can use four wire. If you use four wire, so you can be so you can get the result is more better if you use three, two, or no, there is no one wire. Minimum wire is two, and maximum wire using four wire. Four wire is better than three or two wire. You can see on this any part of this RTD sensor. This name is RTD at wires, protective overcoat, insulated cylinder core, and this platinum resistant wire. And then what the function of every this part? This part of wire you can use using this wire, and then you can connect to voltmeter or multimeter. You can connect this wire to voltmeter or multimeter, and then you can know the voltage on this sensor after getting fire or cold condition. And then what the function of this protective overcoat, or you can call this sheets. This is used to cover for covering this sorry for covering platinum material. So if any get fire or hot or cold condition, so this protective overcoat to cover to protect the material from any condition. For example, I will give you picture, and then you can make it easy to thinking. If any fire or cold condition, so protective overcoat to protect from outside condition. from hot temperature or low temperature. Protective overcoats the function like this. Next, what the function of insulated cylinder core? The function is for protect to touch this wire to this wire. So the function for short circuits. Next, what the function of platinum resistance wire? It is used to send electron to voltmeter. Depend on you use. For example, we use material platinum. Platinum is common material for this sensor, and in market any type of this platinum, for example platinum 100, what it means? It means every 100 ohm the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. If more than 100 ohm, so the temperature is more 0 degrees Celsius. Any type of this sensor, PT100, 500, or 1000. This is a standard type on the sensor. Or if you see on Japan, so any standard, for example GPT100, G it means Japan. And if you compare with Thermocouple, the price is higher than Thermocouple. After we learn about the parts of this RTD sensor, and then we learn about the advantage and disadvantage using this RTD sensor. The symbol of RTD like this. This symbol same with resistor, and if you see on this curve, the line is linear. If on the temperature is high, so the value of resistance is high. If the temperature is low, so the value of resistance is low as well. What the advantage using this sensor RTD? Resistor, temperature detector. Number one is more stable, most accurate, most linear than thermocouple. And then what the disadvantage using this sensor? Number one is expensive, and then you need a power supply to make the higher voltage. small delta R, low absolute resistance and self-heating. Next, we will learn about thermistor sensor. Thermistor is thermal resistor. And what the difference between thermistor and RTD? The one of difference of this sensor is the material is used. An RTD sensor using platinum material, but for thermistor sensor using semiconductor material. Semiconductor material is better than platinum material. Thermistor is very good for checking the changing of temperature is very fast. For example, if you buy air conditioner, so any thermistor sensor on its side, on inside. There is two type of this thermistor, type NTC and number two type is PTC. NTC is negative temperature coefficient and PTC positive temperature coefficient. PTC if the condition or temperature high, so the resistance also high. But for NTC type, if temperature high, the value of resistor is low. In this curve, we use NTC type. If the value temperature high, the value of resistor is low. But if the temperature is cold, the number of the value of resistor is high. You can see on this board, this is a structure of this thermistor sensor. Leads same with wire, and then you can connect to multimeter and glass to cover off this sensor. Leads, 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 and leads. Okay. This thermistor has two feet, and the type of this feet is non-polarization. I can draw the physical tools of this sensor like this and this feet. The type of PTC or sorry PTC or NTC type. What the advantage and disadvantage using this sensor thermistor? For advantage using thermistor sensor is high output, fast, responsive to wire ohms measurement. And for disadvantage using this sensor thermistor such as non-linear, correct? Because if linear like this, limited temperature range, the temperature starting from minus 50 degrees Celsius until 150 degrees Celsius. Fragile, power supply required, and self-heating. The last one we are going to learn about IC sensor. The last we are going to learn about the IC sensor. IC sensor is the better sensor with before sensor. If you see on this curve, the line is linear. If the value of temperature high, and then the voltage or current as well high. But for the temperature is low, the voltage or current is low as well. If you compare with before, there is no line linear except this IC sensor. You can see on this not linear for thermistor, and for LTD as well not linear, and for thermocouple also is not linear, but this line linear and this curve is better than with before sensor. The result of this IC sensor is very sensitive, and this device is very good for IoT concept, Internet of Things. If you want to making IoT concept, so you can use this sensor IC sensor for inside of it, because this IC sensor only small consumption power. IC sensor is very many variant, and for right now, if you use to detect temperature, you can using IC sensor type LM35 or the MP36. You can use LM35 type or the MP36. Many variants of this IC sensor, and because we are now learn about temperature, so we choose AC sensor for temperature measurement, and then you can use this type. Physical device of this sensor, AC sensor. This type of LM35, there are three wire or 3 foot. This for voltage you can connect to battery. Output you can detect the voltage can be detected and ground battery, and is the result of voltage, and this foot is ground. What the advantage using this sensor and what the disadvantage using this sensor? For advantage using this sensor, such as most linear, yes correct, highest output, and inexpensive. And what the disadvantage using this sensor? The value temperature less than 200 degrees Celsius, unit power supply, slow response, self-heating, and limited configuration. I think enough for explaining this temperature measurement. Shortly, if you have any question about this temperature measurement, you can comment on below on this video. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.